The night my life cracked open did not begin with thunder or tragedy, but with a knock on my door that sounded too light to matter, a knock that carried a consequence I did not yet understand. I remember standing there with my hand on the handle, the house behind me quiet and tired, my heart already aching from years of small defeats, when I realized that one careless bet had dragged destiny to my doorstep, smiling, nervous, and completely unprepared to stay. If you believe in kindness and second chances, and in the strange ways life rewrites us when we least expect it, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this exist because people like you still believe hearts can change. Her name was Hannah Whitmore, a name I would repeat in my mind later like a prayer I didn't know how to say. She stood on my porch in Cedar Falls, Iowa, the early autumn air brushing past her hair, her posture confident but her eyes betraying unease. The bet had been stupid, born from a group of friends laughing too loudly at a backyard barbecue across the street. Hannah had sworn she could beat me at a trivia game we had played countless times before, and when she lost, the penalty was simple and cruelly funny at the time. She would have to stay the night at my place because her friends insisted she couldn't drive home after celebrating too much, and my house was the closest safe place. What none of us had considered was that both of us were carrying wounds that would not survive being alone together. I was Aaron Caldwell, 34 years old, divorced, quietly drowning in a life that had stalled after a factory layoff and a marriage that ended not with screaming but with silence. My house was clean but empty, filled with the echoes of plans that never happened. I worked part-time at a hardware store, told people I was fine, and believed it less every day. Hannah, on the other hand, seemed like someone whose life still moved forward. She worked as a physical therapist, had friends who laughed easily and carried herself like someone used to being wanted. Yet as she stepped inside, I sensed that she too was tired in a way smiles could not hide. The evening unfolded awkwardly at first, like two actors forced onto a stage without rehearsal. We watched a movie neither of us followed, ate reheated food, and spoke about harmless things that kept us from touching anything real. Outside, the wind rattled the trees, and the house seemed to listen. I gave her the guest room, apologized for the squeaky floor, and retreated to my bedroom feeling foolish for how fast my pulse had raced just being near another human being who noticed me. Sleep refused to come. Somewhere after midnight, a storm rolled in, rain striking the roof with a steady insistence that mirrored the thoughts pounding inside my head. I lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about how my life had narrowed into routines and regrets, when I heard footsteps in the hallway. Hannah appeared in the doorway, wrapped in a blanket, her composure gone, replaced by something raw and honest. She had always hated storms, she said earlier that night in passing, and now that fear had come looking for her. Without ceremony, she sat on the edge of my bed, not close enough to touch, but close enough to feel less alone. What followed was not romance, not even comfort in the way movies promise it. It was something quieter and more dangerous. We talked, not in dramatic confessions, but in broken truths that slipped out when defenses fell asleep. She spoke of a failed engagement, of giving years to someone who loved the idea of her more than the reality. I spoke of losing my job, my confidence, and the belief that effort always led somewhere. The storm outside softened as our words grew heavier, and in that shared vulnerability, something shifted. We did not solve each other, we simply stayed. Morning arrived. Gently, sunlight creeping through the curtains like an apology. Hannah was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, her hair messy, her expression thoughtful. The bet was over, the obligation fulfilled, and she could leave. Yet neither of us rushed. We made breakfast together, laughed at nothing important, and acknowledged without saying it that the night had changed us. When she finally stepped outside, the space she left behind felt larger than my house had ever been. Days passed, then weeks. Hannah became part of my routine without forcing her way in. She stopped by after work, helped me update my resume, pushed me to apply for jobs I thought were beyond me. In return, I listened when her past crept up on her, when self-doubt whispered that she was too much or not enough. There were setbacks. I was rejected more times than I could count, and she nearly moved to another state for a better position. Each challenge tested the fragile thing growing between us, but instead of breaking, it bent and held. The turning point came on an ordinary Tuesday when I was offered a full-time position managing inventory for a regional supplier. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable, and for the first time in years, I felt useful. That night, sitting on my porch with Hannah beside me, I realized that fate had not changed because of luck or love alone. It changed because someone stayed when it would have been easier to leave, because a lost bet forced two broken people to see each other clearly. Before this story ends, I have a small request. Please comment below and share where you're watching from or what part of this story felt most real to you. Your words matter more than you know. Hannah and I did not rush into promises. We built something slowly, deliberately, aware of how easily it could fall apart. Yet every time a storm rolled in, every time life tested our resolve, I remembered that first night, the knock on the door, and the way fate sometimes disguises itself as inconvenience. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the smallest moments can change everything, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement keeps stories like this alive, and somewhere, someone needs to hear that one night can still rewrite a life.